Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. Let's take a look at what's in store today.
Alley of Blood is in game for just a couple more days, and I thought I'd share this video, which was my first match of this most recent appearance of it back in game. So I never normally play Alley of Blood, but for this I've been using a build that I set up for Vault, and it seems to be doing pretty well. Now this was the match that originally me and GZ were trying to match together to be on the same team, but we both ended up in totally different matches altogether. Normally when we do Alley of Blood and queue at the same time, I've had it with a lot of my friends, we normally end up against each other rather than on the same team, but obviously myself and GZ did end up together for the battle that we had the other day. So you can see here we've got a bit of a mixed team, so I'm with a Necromancer, Barbarian and Monk as well. So I'm interested to see how this battle may go. Now obviously Monk, Barbarian and Tempest seem to be the ones that are most OP in Alley of Blood, and for those that don't know, Alley of Blood is a non-resonance based PvP, so everyone is at the same level, everyone has gear at the same level, all legendary get gems work, but they're all again lowered down to the same level for this mode. Now the specialist skill that I chose here is Stone Hex, which you can see I've already used on one of the enemy team, and this whole build is based around freeze and CC. Now one thing to remember with Alley of Blood is that you do only have the 6 gear pieces equipped, so you don't have your second offhand or main hand, and this means that builds can sometimes be a little bit tricky because you don't necessarily have all the essences that you would normally have in other PvP instances. As I mentioned, I use this in Vault, so this is a slightly different setup to what I would normally have in my Vault PvP. But this build, as I said, is basically focusing all around the CC, crowd control and freeze, so basically immobilizing the enemies that you are against. Now I'm not going to go through the build in detail in this video, I'm going to wait and share that in another video, because I have a few people ask me about builds and I want to make sure that it is completely to its best capability before I go ahead and share everything. Now set items that I'm using with this are End Winter, I've got 4 pieces of that, 2 pieces of Barons and 2 pieces of Grace as well. So this build, as I mentioned, it works pretty well in PvP, and so we're going to test it in this battle as well. I wanted to test it out in Alley of Blood to see if it was actually viable to use in other PvP instances. Now the one risky thing with this is that there is no escape. Obviously we have slow time, which does speed up your movement a little bit, but there is no teleport like we normally have in a lot of the PvP wizard builds, which definitely does help, as wizard is obviously a pretty squishy class. So we've got 2 kill streaks so far, and we've done quite well in assisting our teammates. Also, one of our teammates is currently down, so we are missing our Barbarian currently, who has just revived and come back. And obviously, ideally fighting in the middle of the map here is not the perfect situation. However, being a CC wizard with no escape, I cannot be pushing the front line, and I think sometimes players forget this when they're in PvP, that if you've got a CC wizard on your team, you kind of need to keep them safe from dying, keep them safe from those melee classes, so that they can actually help you and the other teammates to push forward. So if you're watching this and you don't play wizard, take care of your wizards in PvP and they will in turn take care of you. It definitely makes a difference having that. Now, although I mentioned I'm not going to go into great detail with the build, I will just touch on the essences that I'm using for this battle. So for the helm, we've got Terminus Facade, Shoulders of the Cataclysm on the shoulder, Lysana's Sorrow chest, Thistle Bloom main hand, Alder Crystal offhand, and Frostwalker's pants. So the Frostwalker's is giving us that Icy Meteor, which is helping with the freeze. We've got Lysana's Sorrow with the Frostfield also for the freeze. Shoulders of the Cataclysm is increasing the damage from Meteor. Then we've got Thistle Bloom and Alder Crystal for the Arcane Wind as well. And obviously the Terminus Facade for the slow time. So what this build is a little bit of a spam build, but with that CC for freezing and obviously pulling in enemies with the Thistle Bloom as well. So this works quite successfully. The only problem is, as always with Alley of Blood, because I'm using this at range as a ranged class player, obviously I'm not always able to pick up all the shards from my kills, which doesn't always work in my favour, because it means that I end up not quite being as strong as my other teammates, and obviously then you end up dying more. So with Alley of Blood, obviously picking up shards from the enemies that you've killed will make you stronger and give you more life as well, and obviously each time you die you do lose some of those shards that your enemy team can then actually pick up. So this build, as I said, is all about controlling the other players on the enemy team, and it does work successfully if your teammates know exactly what you're doing and why you're using that build. So you can see here currently we're second for kills, so not doing too badly. all of my teammates were down at the same time there, which is not a good place to be, because it does mean that our towers here are left unprotected. However, they seem to be focusing more on the middle than actually pushing through, and we have almost taken down their first tower. So obviously with Alley of Blood, you want to take down both towers and their crystal heart, and you want to stop the enemy team from actually destroying yours. Now with Valley of Blood, if you do run out of time in the battle, the winner will be decided by the team that has taken down the most towers, or done the most damage to the towers. So I did have an instance last week where unfortunately we had a really tough match. Myself and one of my warband guys were together. We were both playing a wizard CC build, and our team actually had 45 kills against their 25. But we lost the match because they'd taken down the second tower and we hadn't taken down their second one. So that was really disappointing, super frustrating. So you want to make sure that you are focusing on those towers in Alley of Blood, because that is the thing that's going to make the difference to your team. It's not about the kills, it's going to be about who's taken down that tower. So obviously we've got their first one down. We need to try and push forward here. And obviously I keep being left on the front line, which is not ideal. But if I can manage to control them a little bit better, then hopefully I won't die, but that has obviously just happened. So yeah, we've got 2 melee players on this team and 2 range. As I said at the start, we've got Barbarian and a Monk, and then myself and Necromancer playing range. So a nice mixture for once. Sometimes with Alley of Blood, in fact, most of the time in the past, I normally find I'm not with any melee classes, and that can be really tricky to try and push forward with, because you do need that front line and you do need them to be able to push. Whereas if you're all ranged, unless you've got someone with a tank build that is ranged, it's really, really difficult to do. As I said, there's a few classes that seem to outshine others in Alley of Blood. Barbarian is one of them, Tempest is another, and Monk, as we all know, the Monk build currently is like super tanky in all PvP instances. I call it the like twirling baton build. I know most people call it the helicopter build, but it looks like baton twirling to me. But yeah, that seems to work really well in all PvP instances, which is what our Monk is using on this team. So that's definitely helping us to push forward a little bit here. Now I've got this poison effect on me that's caused quite a lot of damage. I seem to be taking invisible hit there as well. I'm not sure what that was, but I was definitely hit by something. So maybe one of the specialist skills, or maybe some kind of visual bug there on the screen. But I definitely took damage from something, even though I couldn't see anything around me. That's happened before in Alley of Blood. I think I've shown that in other videos in this mode before as well. And just again trying to push forward a little bit here. But unfortunately I did get taken down very quickly there by their Barbarian. So we're back to being resurrected. I did take a moment to pause here because I actually had to answer the door when I was filming. So yeah, apologies for that. Just hiding in the grass for the same reason, because I was literally at the door and I didn't want my teammates thinking I was just AFK at spawn, even though I was actually semi-AFK because I was retrieving a parcel and signing for it at the time that I was in the middle of this match. You couldn't write it. This always happens to me. I'm always in the middle of filming and someone's at the door or something happens. So anyway, let's push on, and it looks like I'm going to die here because I was too distracted when I did get back into the match. Obviously, the downside with Alley of Blood, like Conqueror, is the amount of time it takes to resurrect. And I really wish they would change this and lower it to like 15 seconds maximum, because it's such a long time to wait. And I've been in the situation before where we've actually lost the battle just because we've all been down and the enemy team have managed to push through our towers so quickly. But we've revived again now. Let's push forward again, see if we can take this down. We've got a lot of shards here from a killed player. I'm not going to be greedy and take all of them, although I probably should have done that because it may have made me a little bit more tanky against these enemy players. But yeah, so far we're not doing too badly here. They have taken down our first tower now, so we do need to get a move on and actually push forward with this. I don't know why all of these players on both teams seem to be focusing more in the centre. I know obviously that you want to take the Guardians down as well, but it's super important to just focus on those towers and actually taking those down and pushing forward in these battles. Now you can see we're all focused on this tower, so the second tower is now destroyed and we can push on to actually deal damage on that heart. I seem, again, for some reason I was the only person actually moving forward then, which was super frustrating. But yeah, we're close to the crystal heart now. I think with my CC and hopefully with the guys and their melee builds, we should be able to actually hold these guys back from pushing forward at all, and we should, with any luck, be able to take down their crystal heart quite quickly. I don't know if you get bot matches in Alley of Blood. I really don't know. It didn't feel like a bot match. But yeah, there was some like weird behaviour. But obviously with this mode, people could be of any level and any experience, and it's all just learning for people. There are some players that are new, so I try not to get too frustrated at people because obviously, as I said, some people are new to the game, some people are new to PvP. So there we go, we did actually manage to destroy their crystal heart. So it was a victory for my team, and all I've had in Alley of Blood is actually victories other than that one loss with the 45 kills. This was the overall result. I was top 4 kills, unfortunately not MVP of the match, but overall I'm happy with that result as my first battle of this when it came back in game. So that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.